It's April 11th, 2022. There is a thing on here. This is Valerie Biden, and she's got this book out. Now, she's on See the BS this morning. I'm really not happy, not necessarily with her, she's whatever, she's fine. What I'm not happy about is the treatment that she's received while on the show. I mean, I'm sitting here watching the complete disrespect of the false king who's on a calendar in North America without any evidence that I've ever been shown that she's allowed to be here, or that she's allowed to be on a teleportation device, or that she's allowed to even speak as an authority on any kind of morning program. And she speaks so disrespectfully to Valerie, who is President Biden's sister and who has a North face. So, but it's a very underhanded comment. It's like, I remember there are television shows that say just how Valerie and my people were back in the 40s, 50s, and 60s with television, and how these up-and-comings of color wanted to get on the TV show. That's been their story. They've stuck to that story, that whatever. Sometimes they were treated nice, sometimes they weren't. Well, we are now in 20th century, and they have completely overstepped their line. They've showed disrespect on a daily basis, and they're all over the place, running amok. It's disgusting. I don't know how you got into these shambles and shackles, and I don't know who is responsible for it, but it's unacceptable behavior. As far as growing a garden of next gen who doesn't even feel comfortable in their own skin or in their own North face, with their own system already here for them, with this up-and-coming problem that is everywhere, as I've been documenting. Watch how they treat Valerie, which is absolutely shameful.
It's been by his side the entire time. She has been a part of every one of his political campaigns, including his 2020 White House run and 7 successful Senate races. Now, she's out with a new memoir, and it's called Growing Up Biden, something she knows a little bit about. She writes about being the only girl in a family of brothers and one of the few women at the table during much of her career. Valerie Biden.
That's how I feel, by the way, with my 4 boys that I gave birth to.
Owens joins us in the studio now. Before you joined us on camera, Valerie was saying, where do I look? I wanted to say, just look at me with admiration and adoration.
That will be easy.
Don't look at the camera.
That'll be easy.
Just pretend it's just the two of us chickens here.
That's it right there. In North America, Valerie still has a much higher seating in priority and respect, and it should remain such, over the whatever. But it's just this really uncomfortable dance, and it's been a growing problem in visual reality for quite some time. I don't know if anybody else has taken notice of it, but I don't know how to fix it or resolve it in, like, real time.
Here. But you know, Valerie, congratulations on your book, because I think you give us a lot of insight to your brother, give us a lot of insight into your relationship. But when you guys were growing up, when you did his first campaign, you were 25, 26?
Yeah, the county council was 1970.
Yes.
He's 3 years older than I. He used to be a lot older till he wrote his book and exposed me. So,
But you had no experience running campaigns. Why did you think you could do this? And why did he trust you?
well, I have from the time I opened my eyes when I was a little girl. My brother had his hand out and he said, "Come on, Val, we've got things to do and places to go and people to see." And he took me with him every place. And when his friends would say, "Why did you bring a girl?" His answer was, "She's not a girl, she's my sister."
Yeah.
He told me that whatever he could do, I could do better. He said I was smarter, nicer, kinder. I was not all couldn't possibly be true. But he believed so much in me that I owed it to him and to myself to try and be the young girl that he thought I could be.
You know, one of the most.
She's one of the luckiest women in the world for having that kind of brother and relationship. I so admire them, and there's so very few humans that I can actually say that about.
Telling stories to me in the book was when you all were going to college and the family didn't have enough money. And they said, and would you tell this? I think it's so illuminating about who he is and who you are. You didn't have enough money for both of you to go. And so your brother Joe goes to your parents and says,
Okay, I could go and commute.
yes.
And my father sold cars, so he was able to get a car from the dealership at a reasonable rate that I could commute back and forth. But I wanted to go and live on college, on campus. And my brother, unbeknownst to me at the time, said, come on, I want to talk to Dad and Mom. And he said, look, I'm not going to go back. I'm going to finish college for sure.
Yeah.
But I'm going to take a year off and earn enough money so that I can pay for my tuition and send Val this year.
Yeah.
Like,
He said, let her go instead of me because she's smarter and she deserves to go.
Yeah. He was, I mean, it was shocking. And my father was somehow found a way to make it happen that we could both go. My father very much wanted to be able to send us, but my brother handled it with a great deal of dignity and for my father.
And then he was always looking out for you. Your family is extremely close, and you give many instances of that and how the two of you have protected.
And it's interesting because at least President Biden's father had money and a job at that point in America in order to be able to save and pay for college tuition. By the time Lewis got there, his businesses were always hit or miss. It was always like just on the verge of bankruptcy at all times. Like they lived on some like hairline program where they were constantly, Lynn and Lou were constantly fighting. And there was barely enough to scrape by every month in wherever they had me, which is why there was also so many changes on the front end anyway. But by the time Lynn and Lou, and I'm an only child, lonely only. It's not like I had 4 siblings that they had to pay for college. 1, they couldn't even do it. I took out college loans, and I got a scholarship at some point, but not enough to cover anything. So I've always had to pay for it out of pocket, which makes it a non-priority. But also at the level of the college that was presented to me, there was no career paths. There was no pathways to success. Nothing. So just so he's aware, that's how Delaware was in New York by the time Lou was around, and there was no college, and he didn't go to college either. So we were already set on a path behind. Sports would have been a great outlet had I been able to get picked up by somebody important, but whatever. And so it's just this constant uphill battle in how's Delaware doing compared on like a chart with New York and over the generations. And at least she was able to get to college. It's not that, I mean, I went. There was just no job at the end of college. It was like a carrot, and then they moved the horse. And then they moved the horse again. And then they moved the horse again. And it was like, just take more credits, just take more credits. But there was no, it feels very Resort World and Casino. That's really what it feels like. And it feels like it's built to purposely make sure I never get anywhere by moving some of the pieces just enough that they're out of my reach. But yet it allows others to take places that I should have been in for years to this point. Just so we're clear on one conversation. Star 1978, star 8378, Nicole, Cattaruzza, its Earth, solar system, Milky Way, universe, galaxy is broken, and its Bayside station, Bayside, New York, 11361.